Hi Alok, welcome to the Pet Talks series. I'm happy to have you as part of the Pet Talks.
Hi, Shruti.
Hi. So just to introduce you as a quick brief, I have known you for the longest now, and it's been a pleasure working with you in multiple occasions around Kerala floods, and even now during the COVID-19 situation. And I think HSI as an organization and you as an individual in the rescue animal welfare space, you don't need an introduction. But it's always great for anybody who's listening to this to know what you do, because the whole idea of having this conversation with you is for me to be able to tell the world about what I know of you and what HSI does, right? And I think the international vertical of HSI has been great in terms of what they do, but it's also a privilege that they chose to start HSI India, and
Yep.
I think that's a big move. So yeah, an introduction to yourself, Alok, and HSI, and then we'll take the discussion forward to make it more interesting around all the work that you do.
Okay, so hi, I'm Alokparna. I'm the interim managing director for Humane Society International India. So, Humane Society International, or HSI India, is part of HSI, which is the world's largest animal protection organization, along with the Humane Society of the United States. So we are divided into three parts actually. One is Humane Society of the United States, which is a 60-year-old animal protection organization, more than 60 years old. Then it's Humane Society International, which works around all countries other than the United States, which is headquartered in Washington, D.C. And then there are affiliates. So we work in around 50 countries, including India, and we have offices in about 23 countries. And India was one of the first 3 countries where we had offices outside of the US. So we were, in fact, very honored and privileged, where also because there's a need to have an office. I think after UK and Canada, India was the first office after that. So we in India have been here for about 8 years now. So 2012 is when we got registered. And we work on all. I mean, we pride ourselves in being an organization which works on all animal protection issues,
Right.
whether it's street dogs, animals in farm animals, animals in laboratories, wildlife, cruelty, anything and everything that you can find, which is of course not being done by others, where there is a loophole, where there is a dearth of people working on it, you'll find us there.
Very nice. So one, I want to touch a point about why HSI decided to start in India. You said it's a need. Of course, we all know it's a need, but how did the whole idea of the organization starting its main branch in India come about?
One of the reasons for HSI starting was that when the Humane Society of the United States was starting to get very successful in the US, what they realized was that the cruelty was not ending at the US, it was just getting transferred to other countries. And that is one of the reasons Humane Society International started. And so it started, the work from the US, it started going into Latin America and Europe and Asia. So when Humane Society International started in 1992, we started a lot later,
Yeah.
2012, but we are one of the largest. We have the largest population of dogs, 30 million dogs in the country, street dogs in the country. We have the third largest number of egg-laying hens. We are the largest producers of milk, largest exporters of leather. We have huge number of contract research organizations where animal testing is done. So there are obviously a number of animal welfare issues, and with or without protection for the animals. So that's why, because there was a need, because the industry is booming here, and if there is no protection for the animals which are being used, then it would just go on to a level where we couldn't stop it later. That's why India was such a key place to start the organization.
Do you want to just give a quick understanding of what happens in animal testing labs? Because that's where the change starts, right? Like most people, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure, who are not sensitive are probably people who don't really know what goes into it. Um, So just like in one, two liners, just to get the sense of it, would you want to tell about what happens with testing? Like, how is it done?
Okay. So any sort of product around you, whether it's this paint, varnish, the paint on my specs, my lipstick, my kajal, anything and everything, drugs, medical devices, everything is tested on animals.
Right.
So there are different categories and there are different regulations for testing on animals. Of course, cosmetic testing, some household chemicals are now no more tested. But there are different ways of testing also. One is skin sensitization. So chemicals are rubbed onto the animal's shaved skin and see how corrosive it is. So if it is burned, if there are allergic reactions, if there are long-term allergic reactions, which are like sensitization of this thing, for drugs and for, say, deodorants and gaseous and aerosol substances, inhalation tests are done. So animal tests are divided into acute, subacute, and chronic tests. So acute are for 14 to 28 days, subacute are for 90 days. So the animals are treated with those chemicals for those many days. And chronic tests, usually for drugs, are for more than 2 years. So these are those cancer tests, other tests. So a huge range and variety of animals are used, from rats and mice to dogs and monkeys. So tested on skin, smoke is made, animals are made to inhale smoke for hours together to see if some tests, give breathing problems or not. If they are toxic when left in the air, that sort of thing. Injected liver, all sorts of toxicity tests. So to see what organ, which part of the body is affected by the said chemical. And of course, the problem with animal tests is that because the different kinds of animals that are used, the dose is so small. So even if you're testing on a rat, the dose is like minuscule of what a human will be given for a drug, for example. So it is always extrapolated. So animal tests are actually 50 to 60% accurate only, and we are using them for the past 100 years. So but there people think that when non-animal tests need to come, they need to be 100% accurate. And regulators still have a problem if they're 80% accurate, forgetting that animals are just 60% accurate. Yeah, so those kind of tests are used, and I won't go into detail because, if I go into too much detail, it will be too traumatic. But you can look into, right now the scientific community is moving forward and the government is trying to invest into non-animal technologies, and alternatives such as lung on chip, liver on chip, those kind of things are being brought into place. Robots are being brought into place, and it's only a matter of a few years before we replace animals.
Good job. Good job by HSI. Good job by all the organizations who come forward. If it is, just think about it this way, right? If it is so traumatic for us to hear what happens in the lab, I won't be surprised if a lot of people just pause here and say, okay, I can't listen to this anymore. But if it is so hard for us to listen to what happens, I just can't imagine what the animals actually go through.
Did you know that snake bites cause the maximum amount of human deaths in human-animal conflict? We always think elephants or wild animals, but it's actually the snake. So 50,000, there are about 1 million snake bites per year, and 50,000 human beings die because of snake bites. And a lot more snakes are also dead. But we are doing a pilot project in Mysore to see if simple actions like providing villagers torches or protection boots, because they are always walking bare feet.
Yeah.
Those things can prevent snake bites and help not displace these animals. So these things, of course, will go on, but we are also afraid that this COVID might extend for a longer period of time. So it might disappear in a few months. Hopefully we are able to overcome it, but it may come back again. So the long-term things of it are that we've worked with the government. We are urging the government, in fact, to shut down wet markets in India. I know that Wuhan and all the wet markets around Southeast Asia are into a lot of news because of their presence. But in India too, pet markets and live animals markets where slaughter is done are actually mixed. And that is a huge danger for the hygiene of anybody. Not only us as customers, but also customers or consumers, but also for the workers there.
Right.
They have no protection, no gears. They're barefoot, bare hands, and mixing of wild. I mean, for example, in Mumbai, Crawford Market, there are pet shops, wild bird stores, exotic bird stores, and just behind that there is a slaughterhouse. So there is no demarcation, and these are completely illegal. It's not that they're legal. So we are urging the government to shut these illegal shops, ensure that all the law, we have the best laws of the world actually. It's just that they're just not implemented.
Right.
We are an over legislated country and under implementing country. So if these laws tried to get had to be implemented, we would actually have good practices. So if our slaughterhouse rules, our food safety and standard rules, and our other animal protection rules were followed, then this country would be very different. So we are urging we've actually written to the Prime Minister of India to ban wet markets in India. So we will be following up with that. That is a long-term thing to prevent any further pandemic.
Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing all this information, Alok. I hope to have all the people who are listening to this go and follow HSI for all the work the organization is doing. Let us do our bit. If not anything, let us share this information with our friends and family to make sure that people are more aware. And we will stay connected. Alok, anything that we could do together, we've always done, and we will continue to. Congratulations on all the great work you've been doing. Congratulations on all the things that you've been able to achieve. It's great to see that.
Thank you, Shruti, and I'm so honored to be part of Pet Talks. And thank you for having such a platform where we can talk about so many things without any inhibition. So thank you for giving a platform to the voice of animals.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And that's the whole idea of this platform, that, animals and anything related to animals is generally taken as a back step for most shows. So for us, this is our world, right? We are the voice for them. So
thanks, Shruti. Thanks so much.
Take care, Alok. Stay connected.
Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe.
With as many people as we know.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.